You know, the movie Argo with Ben Affleck.
Ran, yeah.
They knew that story for a long time, but they couldn't do the 30-year rule. 30 years later, they could make the movie and tell the story. I think we need some kind of a 20-year rule
It's
here.
an amazing idea. Who's implementing that?
Dude, what I'm trying to say is why the hell would you have your people that have all these assets?
You've only got part of it.
Yeah.
You've only got part of the equation. Now let me give you the other part. This company wants to sell stuff in China. Big company, corporation.
Yeah.
You know,
Nike used.
$200 billion a year valuation. They see things happening in Washington, D.C. that impacts their business in China. What do? They hire a PR firm, they hire a lobbying firm, they hire a law firm in Washington, D.C.
Yep.
What do those guys do? They begin to go and talk to the government. So who lobbies in Washington, D.C. for the Chinese Communist Party?
Who lobbies?
It's not just about the think tank guys. Who is lobbying in Washington, D.C. for the Chinese Communist Party, the biggest lobby?
Who is?
The U.S. Chamber of Commerce, the business community of America. That's who
Money
lobbies.
talks. Follow the money is what you're saying.
Follow the money.
Yeah, so I don't know. You know, this makes me very uncomfortable, but at the same time, it doesn't make me that comfortable.
I've sat in the meetings and listened,
Yeah.
and I've actually questioned the representatives. I'm like, who do you represent? Do you represent an American corporation? Or do you represent the Chinese Communist Party?
Can I ask you a personal question?
This is very. Hang on one second. This is very basic. First of all, you know, guidelines on who you can accept money from. Period. There has to be guidelines on who you, as an organization like U.S. Chamber of Commerce, who you can accept money from. I'm checking to see who.
The U.S. Chamber of Commerce is responsive to their members. Who are their members? Corporate America. What did corporate America say? Don't screw with our business in China. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Yeah,
Nike just came out and said we're a brand of China. We love China. We're a brand for China. So that's exactly what you're talking about.
That's exactly what I'm. So people, the problem is
money over country.
Patrick,
I don't know.
People do not
money
understand how Washington D.C. works.
Talking about money.
You don't know how Washington D.C. works. That's the problem. People think
this is why they call it the swamp.
It is.
I'm telling you. Why they're calling
and
it
it's
the
not
swamp.
because people hate the country, right? These people are. You brought up McConnell and Biden. They are convinced that the best thing for the country is to have this relationship with China. They and
why though? Why are they convinced of that?
No. They believe that globalization, the internet, will eventually lead China to becoming a democracy like us.
Well, he says it all the time. Open up the social media. Bring in YouTube. Bring in Instagram. Bring in Facebook. Then we can talk. You've said that how many times, Pat?
Yeah, many times. But here's and we've talked about this before. Here's my thing though. First of all, let's go through priorities. Okay, so let's just say if I'm recruiting you to work for the U.S. government, what's above anything? The country is above anything. So if you're going to go faith, family, business, let's just say God is number one. If military, you swear oath, you're going to be president, you put your hand on the Bible. Okay, let's say faith. But next is what? You got your family, let's just say. But country, what are we doing? Like some of these things to me would be contracting.
Do you know how many people I know who are senior people in government to have a family member that has either worked or is working in China?
How many?
Lots.
Percentage.
Lots. At a very high, and we're talking at a very high level of the government. They have a brother, they have some family member that is working in China.
Yeah.
So I mean, this McConnell's sister-in-law is on the board. No.
That's the dad.
No. His sister-in-law is on the board of the Bank of China.
Well, what about his wife? McConnell's wife.
Well,
Trump calls her out all the time.
Father. But listen to what you said. Say that one more time. Sister-in-law sits on the board of Bank of China.
Bank of China.
Sister-in-law. So, but here's let me go back to my argument of the last few years of why a guy like Trump was hated so much. Okay, go to presidents who didn't have a need for money. What happened to those guys? Go to presidents who are true believers or didn't have a need for money where you couldn't buy them. Lincoln, you couldn't buy him. What happened to Lincoln? We know how that ended up. Kennedy, you couldn't buy him. What happened to him? We know how that ended up. Reagan had his own money. You couldn't control him. You couldn't buy him. We know how that almost ended up, a couple inches away with how that ended up.
Killed. Almost killed. Shot.
Trump didn't need money. He created enemies. We know how he ended up. By the way, he may have not gotten assassinated, but he got character assassinated.
There was another guy. There was another guy that I actually voted for, and that's Perot. I really was. I was sad to see him drop out, and then I think he really could have been something.
Oh, I don't disagree. I think he could have created a whole new generation of people that would have gone in the middle. We needed a third party at the time. He was the guy that got closest to it.
1992.
No, but the part that scares the hell out of somebody when you think about you're dealing with these government guys. These are people that are making $150,000 a year. What the hell is $150,000 a year? Nothing. So you offer $150,000. This is why. Who's easier to bribe, college players or NBA players?
College players.
Okay, college players are the government.
I'll give you the number that
college players are government.
I'll
NBA,
give you the number that I heard. The number that I heard, going rate, stepping out of a $150,000 a year job was $800,000 a year.
To do what?
To basically speak on behalf of.
So we're going to 5x your salary.
Wait. Say this one more time.
$800,000.
To do what?
To basically go back and interface. To sell out.
How does that money be transferred to you? How's that money paid to you?
Through some kind of private entity.
So if you enjoyed this little short segment from the podcast that we did, here's another short segment to watch. Or if you want to see the entire podcast, click over here. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.